After drafting Christian Koloko with the 33rd overall pick at the NBA draft, the Raptors were not done and signed undrafted free agent Ron Harper Jr. to a two-way contract. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you everything you need to know about the newest Toronto Raptors player and why this could be the latest Toronto Raptors hidden gem. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I give you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, and I'm going to be doing it all throughout the offseason, especially as we're breaking down all the new players coming in the draft. So if you like what you see from today's video, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are on a road to 10,000 subscribers. You can help us on the way to this insane milestone. Also, if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, be sure to drop a like. Let's try to get to 250 likes on this video. I know we can do it, because today we are talking all about Ron Harper Jr., signed as an undrafted free agent after he went undrafted. And let me tell you, looking at Ron Harper on Twitter after the draft, he was vocal about being upset that he was not drafted. Based on what I've seen from the player and based on what we're going to learn from the player, he is a dog and he is willing to work. So he was upset that he wasn't drafted, but he is going to work to prove all of those teams who left him on the board. He wants to prove them all wrong. So I'm excited to see what he can produce for the Raptors. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to break down just exactly who is Ron Harper. You may have never heard of him. I mean, you might have heard of his dad, but we're going to break down who he is. We're going to go into what he produced in his senior season for Rutgers. Then we're going to go into his strengths, his weaknesses, and finish with a player comparable. And for Raptors fans, this is a pretty exciting player comparable that I know you're going to want to see, so make sure you're sticking around for the entire video. But let's get into who exactly is Ron Harper. So he is a shooting guard, small forward. He's listed as a small forward. I kind of look at him more as a shooting guard, staying at about 6'5" with a very lovely 7'1" wingspan. That is just great to see, especially for the Raptors. You know they like their guys with those big wingspans. He's 22 years old, again coming off of his senior season at Rutgers. So Ron Harper is a player who I find a little bit intriguing here. I did a very minimal work looking at him before the draft because I knew he was going to go late second round, but I mean, that was the expectation. It was Ron Harper was going to go in the second round. It was a likely second round pick that ended up slipping out of favor. Maybe if we had all 60 picks, he could have gone 59 or 60th. But to be honest, like, from him as a person, it would have been nice to see him get drafted. But from a Raptors standpoint, we got Koloko, and now we have another exciting player in Ron Harper signed to a two-way deal, who I'm very excited to see in Summer League, because based on these stats, there is quite a bit of talent here. He consistently got better and better over the course of his 4-year stint in college, and his final season was obviously his best, where he averaged just under 16 points per game at 15.8, gave us 1.9 assists and 5.9 rebounds. The rebounding is quite good for the position he was playing as a shooting guard / small forward for Rutgers. You'd love to see that with the length that he has. And then you go to his efficiency. I'm a big fan of these categories. He's about 44% from the field and just under 40% from three. What an incredible number to have for somebody coming out of college. He really worked to get that shooting better and better over the course of those 4 years, and eventually averaged over 2 3-pointers per game in that senior season. And even the work is showcased with that free throw percentage just under 80%. There were a lot of things you like to see from a player like this. I mean, those stats showcase that this is a good player, and I think that he is going to be able to show this in the Summer League, and the Raptors can really work their developmental magic with the player. There is something there, because as we go to the strengths for Ron Harper Jr., there is so much that you can like beyond just the size and wingspan, which is something that I am quite fond of. I mean, how could you not be? The 7'1", like, it's over 7'1" wingspan. I'm sure that was a big reason why the Raptors did want to sign this guy out of the draft. I mean, they were probably waiting and hoping that he would go undrafted to get him in this position. And then you can also look at the shooting. Like I said, it's excellent, just under 40%. He can operate off the catch and shoot. He can operate off the dribble. Like, if he wants to hit his step back three, he is fully capable of doing that, on top of just being able to hit those shots. Really does set his feet well, rises up, and has just great shooting form. If you want to look at some tape, very good shooting form that will 100% translate into the NBA. And like I was saying, because he can take it off the dribble, because he's so efficient in the catch and shoot situations, he offers a lot of offensive versatility. Beyond that, being able to blow by his guy and get to the rim, and he's got a very good package on the inside. Very good at scoring in the paint. Has some post moves, can fade away in the paint to hit a little too. Also has some very good moves to get to the inside, very good moves in terms of his floater game. Like, there are a lot of different ways that he can score on you on the inside. Maybe not the most efficient 2-point percentage player, as we saw with that 44% field goal, but nonetheless, he has a lot of tools that he can work with, and at the NBA level can certainly sharpen up. As we progress to the defensive side of the game, he offers a very good amount of defense. He's a very smart player on defense, offers some switchability based on his size. He's got a very good frame for 6'5", which allows him to guard above his height. Also the fact, the 7'1" wingspan is certainly going to help with that aspect. But on top of just the size, like, he is a talented defender. He has very good footwork, moves his feet well to stay with his checks, an intelligent defender, much like his father, Ron Harper, who did win 5 NBA championships over the course of his career. And also his hands. Very good hand-eye coordination. He uses this on offense, when he's handling the ball, when he's fielding passes. He also uses this on defense to cut off those passing lanes, average about a steal per game, and also uses them to rebound. He's a very good rebounding forward, something the Raptors are obviously going to like as they crash the offensive glass. The last thing, this is a good one. He is a very intelligent basketball player, has that basketball IQ. I think growing up with an NBA father, like an NBA champion father, you kind of learn a lot of things about the game. He's going to teach you a lot of things about the game, especially a player as winning as Ron Harper Sr. So has that basketball IQ, definitely showcase that out on the court. But despite all of these great things that I really do like about Ron Harper Jr., he went undrafted. And the reason he went undrafted is because there are a certain amount of weaknesses that will worry NBA teams and NBA scouts. The first one being a little bit his draft age. At 22 years old, maybe you see a little bit of a more limited ceiling as a result of just being 22 years old. You don't have as much room to grow, especially as you see kind of maybe somebody plateauing here. The reason it's different for somebody like Christian Koloko, who also has high draft age, because you've seen considerable improvements, and with the athleticism that he has, you need to sharpen up his basketball tools. Once you sharpen those up to meet the athletic potential that he has, you can get a really good player. But for somebody like Ron Harper, who isn't very athletic, how far can those basketball tools take him when he doesn't have the athleticism to go along with it? Because that is another area of concern, being that athleticism. Not the most athletic player by any means, and conditioning is a little bit of a problem here for Ron Harper as well. Could stand to lose, I don't want to comment on a guy's weight, but he could lose about 10 to 20 pounds just to kind of sharpen up his game that little bit more. He's somebody who's a workhorse, so I don't imagine there's going to be any sort of problem for the Raptors to take care of in the offseason, but this would sharpen up his athleticism that little bit more, help him at the NBA level. This would also sharpen up another one of his weaknesses, the speed, and the speed doesn't translate well to the transition game either. I said he had good footwork, but that kind of drifts away a little bit when he's finishing in transition. He's more of a half-court oriented player, which, is also good to have, but from a Raptors perspective, we like to push in transition. That's just something, in general, every NBA team would want to have somebody who's much better equipped in transition. Not saying he's necessarily horrible in transition, but it is something that does need improvement. I think that just losing a little bit of weight and sharpening up, maybe get a little bit more toned, will help him a lot to succeed with the NBA. So let's get into the player comparable now. This is one of the exciting parts that I have for Ron Harper Jr., because a lot of scouts, and me included, will say that the player comparable is Gary Trent Jr. Ron Harper Jr. really seems like a little bit of a more filled out Gary Trent. The way they play on offense is very similar. Gary Trent, obviously, excellent in the catch and shoot, has such a smooth stroke, very good shooting form. Ron Harper, very much alike, but they can both handle the ball, take threes off the dribble, take mid-range shots at the dribble, and can get to the rim. Maybe not crashing the glass to really get to the rim, going right up to the bucket, but maybe a little bit of a step back fadeaway in the paint, maybe a little bit of a floater game. Like, these are things that Ron Harper has. Defensively, they're not the most gifted athletically, but they're smart defenders. They occupy the passing lanes. They have active hands, good footwork. These are both traits that they share, and these are traits that Ron Harper, again, will be able to translate to the NBA, and the shooting gravity that they have. Like, you really have to be worried about Ron Harper. 40% shooting from three is absolutely no joke, and the reason maybe his field goal percentage drops a little bit is because maybe the layup package isn't quite as good, much like Gary Trent Jr., and also because they're taking a bunch of threes, because that's what they excel at. Their gravity, they occupy a lot of the thoughts of the defenders. Maybe that opens up the game for some of the other players on the court. great parallels amongst these two players. And if the Raptors can work so well with Gary Trent, I believe they can work well with Ron Harper as well. So overall, Ron Harper's signing on a two-way contract. I think it's a great move by the Raptors. We're going to love to see him in Summer League, and I'm going to love to see him probably playing with the Raptors 9 to 5 if he earns that spot. I mean, already signed to a two-way. The Raptors must really be confident in this player to give him that opportunity without actually seeing him in Summer League. What this means for the Raptors, I mean, the roster spots are tightening up. If you include Ron Harper and you include the UFAs with bird rights in Boucher and Thaddeus Young, and you include the restricted free agents in Champagnie and David Johnson, the Raptors now have 17 players on their roster. They are going to have to make some cuts because there are still more things that need to be addressed with this team. Could that mean seeing a partial guarantee player like Brooks get cut? Potentially. Could that mean the Raptors eating that Mykhailiuk contract to free up a roster spot? I see that as a big possibility as well. But if the Raptors really want to constrict their roster by signing Ron Harper, they must see a player that they definitely like and they can definitely work with. He's a very smart player and a very skilled basketball player. The athleticism might hold him back a little bit, but there is certainly talent here, and I think this is a great pickup by the Raptors in an undrafted spot. Really wanted us to take Justin Lewis. I mean, I wanted to draft Justin Lewis 33rd overall. He ended up going undrafted. The Raptors, at the end of the day, decided to sign Ron Harper instead. I support the decision. I mean, they must really like this player, and I can definitely see why. So what do you make of Ron Harper Jr.? Are you excited to see this player play for the Raptors? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to drop a like. We want to hit 250 likes in this video, and when you drop a like, it lets YouTube know that other people just like yourself might want to see this video as well, and it recommends it to more people. It takes you a second to do, but it does help me out a ton. And if you've been enjoying all of this great draft content and you're not subscribed, please be sure to do so. We're on a road to 10,000 subscribers, and you can help us get there. And in return, I'm giving you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. Thank you for the insane support over the last few days in the channel. We've had so many views on the Koloko video from yesterday, and the Koloko video I made actually last week, kind of predicting the Raptors to take him at 33rd overall. So that's great to see all the support. I'm really appreciative of that. I mean, I think we had something like 100 subscribers yesterday. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's what I would get in half a month in just one day. So thank you guys. Very grateful. I'll see you again next time for another video.